Welcome to Teach Sarah Science. I'm Rachel.
I'm Sarah.
And we're teaching that one over there, science.
What are we learning today?
Today's sex ed.
Ooh, sex ed. All the stuff you didn't learn in high school or middle school. They do it earlier now, don't they?
I think so. I think the goal is to kind of...
Scare them into it? Or out of it?
I was going to say educate across a longer period of time. But yeah, if you want to say scare, it's fine.
I don't think they do a very good job. I think people are very embarrassed by it.
Sure. Is that why you don't think they do a good job? But...
Yeah. I remember fifth grade, sixth grade, something sex ed, and I forget the teacher's name, but he was just tomato-faced the whole time, blushing so
Real
hard.
awkward.
It made everybody feel uncomfortable. It was not the way that I feel it should have been done. So many questions I had and didn't want to ask them because you don't be that person if you don't, oh my god, she doesn't know it already. What? So I think this would be a good podcast to help parents, uneducated teens, and everybody in between know some stuff about sex ed.
Exactly. And just a disclaimer, as we're talking about that, this is going to cover some, intimate topics. So if you're a parent listening with a kid or,
You're in your office at work.
Yeah.
Probably not a good idea to have this on loud.
But that being said, this is a great topic to, educate yourself just in a, appropriate
environment.
Great point. So sex ed, who should learn it?
Everybody.
Right?
Right from the minute you can walk, learn it. I feel
that
like
might be a little early.
Just know it. You don't care if you do it. Just know it.
Yeah.
Don't be scared. You're human. It's your body.
Exactly. And communicating in relationships and with your parents, being open and honest, I think is really how we break these barriers down and make sure that we don't fall into the traps of rumors or being misinformed about how things do or don't work.
Whoopsies.
Yeah. And, running into some errors or issues along the way.
Okay, so I mean, let me just put this out there. I don't feel like I'm uneducated in this sense, but we thought this would be a good podcast to do because of the society these days, and I work with a lot of kids and students, and they're running into these times, but there are a lot of things that I do not know of how things work, and that's where Rachel comes into play. So teach me things I don't know, Rach.
All right, you got it. So let's go over really the bulk of how it all works, right? So male, female, really clinical, reproductive, structures, how this whole thing.
I'm ready. I'm digging it. Here we go.
All right, so.
No PPs and hoo-has?
No PPs and hoo-has. We're
right.
talking real legit stuff.
All right, I don't know if I can handle the real words, but that's fine.
That's okay.
Okay.
So to start, we have the male reproductive organs.
The PPs.
No. Remember, clinical.
Clinical.
All good stuff.
Okay, go.
So this starts, your whole journey starts with the sperm in the testes. So you have two parts to the testes. You have where the sperm begin their maturation.
Why do I feel like there should be music playing in the background? Like some...
It's an epic journey.
Powerful, epic sonata. Not the right type of music, but kind of.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Should I sing it?
You can try.
Da, 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 da.
All right. Okay. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. All right, go.
So, sperm originate and develop in the testes. There's a whole bunch of coiled up tunnels in each testicle, and they generate and produce sort of like the brain, but not quite, because brains have neurons and channels. And
I'm picturing what a brain looks like as your balls.
Maybe.
Okay.
Again, testes. Right. Okay. So I think it's about 4 million sperm per hour are
Whoa.
generated in a man's testicles.
You guys have a lot of power.
They do a lot of work.
But I don't think they're really working that hard. The men, not the testes.
Okay. We'll take our own personal opinions aside for right now.
I love all you men.
Okay. So, as the sperm matures and develops inside the testes, when it's matured and ready for release, it sits up on top of the testicles in a portion called the epididymis. Epididymis. They have a bunch of fun words.
Epididymis.
We're going to go over some
I
of my
actually have never heard
favorites.
that word before.
No?
Nope.
So the epididymis sits on top of the testicles. And do you know why the testicles are outside of the body?
Heat regulation?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
for sperm to mature properly, they actually need to be about 2 degrees cooler than body temperature.
Body temperature is 98.8?
98.6
98.6.
on average. But yes, very good.
So it needs to be less than that by 2 degrees.
We're going to get to teach Sara math soon.
96.
Okay. So once they're mature and ready to go, the sperm will travel through what are called the vas deferens.
I know that word.
Why?
Friends.
Okay. But there's a very common procedure that men go through when they, what's it called?
Tubes tied.
What's it called?
Vasectomy.
Right. So it's an ectomy, a cutting, a surgical procedure of the vas deferens.
Got it.
So that's why it's called that. So they travel through the vas deferens, and they start to combine at that point at the base of the urethra.
Where they urinate.
Yep. So men use the same passageway for urine and sperm ejaculation.
Can I put a pause on this for a second?
Yeah.
I remember sex ed, and someone in the class said that you can't, or you can, I don't remember what he said now, but something about peeing and sperming at the same time.
Ejaculating.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you can't do both at the same time, because once you're using that passageway for one or the other, you can only do that one thing at a time.
Sense.
Yep. So you don't have to worry about your semen, which is the mixture of sperm plus the other fluids that we'll talk about in a second, with urine. It won't happen that way. If that's a fear that someone might have, yeah, you're not going to do that at the same time.
Yes. Good.
But let's talk about what else is, mixed in with that, not urine. So the other components of semen, so you have sperm. You also have fluid from the prostate gland. That fluid from the prostate gland helps to lubricate and change the acidity of the vagina to a more neutral pH. So the female vagina is actually very acidic. It helps
Kill off anything that comes near.
Exactly. Being a...
Just like the people that we usually are. Just kidding. That's just me.
Being a mucous membrane, it's open to the environment, infection, things like that. So having a acidic pH helps defend against other bacteria, fungal infections, and things like that. So the prostate gland helps neutralize that pH to allow the sperm to live and travel through.
And make the babies.
Exactly. Another component of semen is fluid from the seminal vesicles.
Where are those located?
They're also located, they're internal structures, just like the prostate gland.
Is it connected? I mean, obviously it's connected.
Yes. So,
draw me a picture with your words.
I'm going to try to. So their seminal vesicles sit what looks like probably a little bit behind the prostate gland. They're smaller, and there are 2 of them.
Do they look like lima beans?
They may or may not. I'm not 100%
In my head,
sure.
they look like lima beans.
Okay. Again, I don't even know what the exact size of them are
Okay.
either, but that's definitely something you can look up.
Don't go based on my lima bean reference, people. It's just for me.
Okay. And then you have what's probably my favorite term of the male reproductive structures is the bulbourethral gland.
I'm sorry, what?
Bulbourethral gland.
Bulbo.
Bulbo.
Urethra.
Urethral.
Urethral.
Gland.
B-U-G. Bug.
No.
No?
B-U-L. Bulbo.
Oh, is it 2 words?
No, it's one.
Bulbo. Urethra. Gland. B-U-G. Bug.
Oh, I didn't realize you were abbreviating it. That's interesting. Okay. So we're just going to make up new abbreviations for things. So the bulbourethral gland is also called the Cowper's gland. I'm assuming that's named after somebody.
That's not the naming I want.
Cowper?
Or just to be named after a penis area.
Oh, you don't want like something to be named the Sara?
Mm-mm.
Okay. That's all right. So all of these fluids, when combined, they provide nutrients like sugars and vitamin C, and like a watery environment, like I said, for lubrication, for them to move, and then neutralizing that pH. So all those fluids together allow for that easy transportation. It's very efficient at what it does.
And direct.
And direct, yes.
Bam.
So, once the man has ejaculated and the semen has passed through the vagina, it, with a good amount of force, passes through the vagina, through the cervix, up into the uterus. And that actually even continues to travel as those sperm have tails on the end of them called flagella.
Swimmers.
Little swimmers. And they continue to move up into the fallopian tubes. So now we'll kind of go over the female reproductive tract and how all of her components allow for fertilization and implantation of the embryo. So for the female, that journey starts with...
I love that you call it a journey.
It is a journey.
It sounds so millennial. So the journey continues.
The journey begins.
Oh, begins.
Well, for the female, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
In the ovaries.
Ovaries.
Right? Two of them on either side.
Looks like a ram.
The whole uterus and fallopian tubes and ovaries together. Sheep? Okay.
Sheep, ram.
Yeah.
Something with the antlers. Ram,
yeah. So ovaries contain all of the eggs that you'll ever have in your lifetime.
How many?
I couldn't even tell you. I'm not sure.
Oh,
That's a good question. Yeah, it's quite a bit. Considering you mature one of these eggs a month from the time you hit puberty until menopause, which could be...
Good Lord, that's a lot.
Yeah, for I think most people it's about 40 to 50 years, depending.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You men are so lucky.
So, in a lifetime, that's a good amount of eggs, and I know we don't use all the ones that we have before we hit menopause.
I hope not.
No.
That's a lot of babies.
Yes. No, I meant mature and release, but yeah, no. God, no. Totally not possible. Anyway, so your brain, once you go through puberty, your brain actually releases hormones that begin the maturation of the eggs inside the ovaries. So once it picks what's called a follicle to mature, it will kind of get it ready to be moved out of the ovary and pass through the fallopian tubes. Which this is something I learned way after high school.
Yeah, I don't think I learned this in school.
The fallopian tubes and the ovaries are not connected.
Wait, what?
Right? So the ovary actually sits separate from the fallopian tube
How does it get there?
through currents.
Magic.
Isn't that crazy? So the fallopian tubes actually have projections, finger-like projections, that move in like a current the egg as it comes through. So it passes through, which
Like a car wash.
like a car wash. Just brushing it on either side, getting it all shiny.
For its big day.
As the mature egg is passing through the fallopian tubes, that's the prime time for the egg to be fertilized by the sperm.
So it's in the tube.
In the tube.
Prime time.
Prime time.
Go time.
Go time.
Looking all pretty from your car wash.
For fertilization.
Perfect.
Once the sperm actually embeds itself into the egg, it goes through this really cool, and they have images of this, like a glowy halo, yes, that says I've been fertilized. And they have
It has happened.
Really cool. So only one sperm can fertilize the egg. You can have multiple sperm trying to get, in there, but only one, as that first one reaches the genetic material of the egg, that's when it becomes fertilized.
So one sperm can equal twins, not two sperm equal twins.
Right.
Clarifying for people.
Right. Yeah. And again, the way that most fraternal twins happen. So that would be if you have one egg, one sperm. If that fertilized egg and sperm divide into two separate embryos that then go on to become two babies, two fetuses, that's identical twins. If you have two separate eggs with two separate sperm, that's fraternal twins.
Now wait.
Fraternal, not identical.
Okay.
So there's two different types of twins.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
I got confused. I thought you said the same thing twice.
I hope not. Identical versus fraternal. Okay. Yeah. So once that fertilization happens, that's called a zygote.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Just because I think the word was so fun.
It is. It's a fun word. Zygote. That zygote now has two halves of the genetic material. So now it's got a whole genome, and that will start to divide into multiple cells and start to grow. For it to continue to develop, it needs to implant into the edge of the uterine wall.
Right.
So it has to attach to the uterine wall, and that's when it begins its development.
That's so fascinating.
Yep.
The pictures of this are just so cool, too. If you ever have time, or if you currently are sitting at home listening and you want to just Google it, just look at the pictures. They're so fun.
Really, really interesting stuff. So fetal development is a whole nother topic, but we're just going to cover, the reproductive stuff. So that's basic, how it works, right?
Right.
Let's cover some common misconceptions.
Please do.
Okay. So what are some myths or rumors that you've heard about?
You can't get pregnant in a hot tub.
Right. So that's not true.
You can't get pregnant while breastfeeding.
That's not true.
Having sex in the butt will make you pregnant.
That's not true either.
I knew that one wasn't true, but I had to put that one out there.
Yeah, so anal sex, you can't get pregnant through anal sex. You can't get pregnant through oral sex either.
No.
So just...
Can't swallow it and make a baby, guys.
No. Some other common things I've heard, or have heard of misconceptions, is that you can't get pregnant the first time you have sex.
Oh, God, people.
You can't get pregnant while you're on your period.
Also false.
Not true, exactly.
let's just put out there. The penis goes in the vagina. You can get pregnant. No matter what time of the year, week, day, month, situation. Pregnant.
Yep. Pulling out.
Doesn't work.
Doubling up on condoms.
That's just uncalled for.
It
That's
actually
not going to feel good for anybody.
No, and it's more likely to cause a break in the condom.
Yep.
Which makes them obviously ineffective.
Yep.
So one condom is
Good enough.
exactly the amount you want to use.
No more, no less.
And then rinsing.
Rinsing what?
Rinsing out the vagina, peeing after sex.
Well, I mean, you should pee after sex.
Right. This does not prevent pregnancy. However, it's great urinary tract health to pee after sex. It removes a lot of things that may have been mashed up in there.
Lovely.
Right? Yeah.
The images for all you people who did not want to listen to this podcast right now, I'm so glad that you did. And I'm sorry if you're eating.
Okay. So another big caution that we want to throw out at people is about STIs. Do you know what STIs are?
Sexually... Wow, that word did not come out.
Not that. Try again.
Sexually transmitted infections.
Exactly.
Are they not called STDs anymore?
They are not. Do you know why?
Because people don't like the word disease?
And people...
Is it too harsh?
Well, people actually... they found that people thought disease was untreatable. And so there was no point going to the doctor. I have a disease. There's no hope for me. All is lost.
Oh, poor people.
Right. So now they've changed the name to sexually transmitted infections. It more aptly describes what it is that you could have.
Mm-hmm.
Things like chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis. Those are all treatable infections.
That's good.
Yeah. So if you have any questions, if something down there is not looking the way it's supposed to or feeling right,
smelling right,
even on a routine, regular basis, you should be checked out for these treatable infections. Be open and honest with your doctors, people.
You should just go to the doctors also before if you're thinking of having sex or if you're currently having sex. You should always be going.
Yeah.
Checking out everything. Lot can go wrong.
Yep, and a lot of it's very treatable and have a lot of easy answers from the right people.
Mm-hmm.
So
do not Google it. Every Google search will say that you're dying.
That's right. Go to your doctors. So I mean, we talked about peeing after sex. That's good health.
Mm-hmm.
Wearing condoms,
mm-hmm.
right? Not doubling up on them.
Do not.
There are different types of condoms as well. So do you know what different types of condoms there are?
I mean, the ones that are her pleasure and his pleasure.
Sure. I mean, like, you go to the drugstore and there's just
Don't go to the dollar store for condoms,
Oh.
people. Get the reliable, go name brand, totally fine.
Spend the money.
It's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of different types of condoms out there. There's actually the natural ones, the non-latex ones. Most of them are latex.
Right.
The latex ones are, I think, like 97% effective.
Mm-hmm.
And condoms are good health because, like we were just talking about, they can help prevent STIs, not just pregnancy.
Oh, wonderful.
Right? So you get that dual effective prevention there, which is really great for anyone who's looking to, experiment sexually, while you're meeting new people, whether it's people you already know, people you don't know,
Which is totally fine, everybody.
Yeah, just be safe and, use all the protection that's available to you.
What about the natural ones that you said?
Oh, so the natural, I think they're called like natural lamb or something like that. They're like, they call them sheepskin. I put that in air quotes. It's not skin, it's actually intestine.
Oh, panic.
Intestinal tract. Now, these are for people who maybe
Allergic to latex?
Right. There's also polyurethane condoms. And the polyurethane ones are also good for people who have latex allergies. Be aware that the intestinal lining, animals, quote unquote, skin ones, those are porous. So, I mean, you have to think that, yeah, the digestive tract, the intestines are porous.
Definitely
themselves.
not vegan.
No, not vegan. So just a heads up, people use what you want, but be aware of what you're putting on.
There's also the pill.
So other types of birth control, exactly. There's the implant, which is something you can put in your arm is the implant. The IUD is the intrauterine device. There's a birth control patch. There's the pill. There's a shot, typically called the Depo shot, right? There's the vaginal ring. And then there's a sponge as well, which I don't know much about that sponge.
I don't like the sound of that one. Own personal phobias.
That's okay. So most people, I think, are familiar with the pill. The pill's been around since actually like the 60s, I believe. And what I really like about the pill is that it's the only drug that goes by the pill and everyone knows what it is.
Oh, that's true. Does it actually have a real name?
Birth control pill.
Oh. But you just say the pill.
Contraception.
That's
yeah,
right.
Contraceptive pill.
What I don't like about it is you have to remember to take it every day.
That is one of the key components of how it's effective. So it balances either one or two hormones in your body as you take it. And it actually tricks the body into thinking that it's already pregnant. So that when your body is already pregnant, it won't mature another egg and release another egg.
I actually didn't know that, and my mind is blown.
Pretty cool, right?
I just thought it was just killing off things down there.
No, it actually tricks your body into thinking that it's already pregnant.
Is that why you gain weight?
I mean, I don't know 100% what...
I got a little chunky on it.
Weight
not
balance.
gonna lie.
That's okay.
I'm currently not on it anymore.
But yeah, so that's how the pill works, is it actually makes your body think that it's pregnant. It begins to build up the endometrial.
Many hormones.
Lots of hormones. Yeah, endometrial lining.
This makes so much sense to me now.
Yeah.
But this is like, they should have taught us this. They should have taught us all about the different kinds of birth controls, all of this stuff, what it does to your body. I am so clueless when it comes to this, and it's sad because I'm 30. I get how sex works, but it's like all the other key side factors that are just like pushed off to the side. Like, yeah, it's there. I kind of know it. Do I really know it? No. Do I question why? No. I'm questioning why.
Right. So
this is great.
There's a couple different types of pill as well. So you have a monophasic and a triphasic pill. The monophasic pill is the same dose of hormone for 3 weeks or 21 days. And then you have the placebo for 7 days.
Sugar pills.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you have the triphasic, which is 3 different levels of hormone for those 21 days. So 7 days of one level, another 7 of another level, another 7 of another level, and then the placebo for that fourth 28 days total.
Now, what about the ones that you take that it's like every 4 months or 3 months or whatever it is, and then you only get your period a few times a year?
So
version of a pill.
It's very similar to the other monophasic and triphasic pills. All you do is you take away that last week of placebo pills and you just start a new pack.
Like if you're going on vacation to the beach somewhere and that's the week you're going to get your period, you always skip that week and just start up again. That was the trick I used to do.
Yes. Yeah. Again, always talk to your doctor before you change your mode or method or timing of medications. But that is something that I was always told you could do as well. But yeah, so there's a bunch of different options out there. that can help not only control or reduce your risk of pregnancy that are legitimate and not some of the ones that we talked about earlier, the myth, rumored ones. And then obviously keeping in mind that anybody can get an STI. Those infections, of course, besides the STI infection ones, there's HIV and things like that. So protecting yourself when you're not in a marital, maybe committed relationship for a long period of time, monogamous with one person, using condoms is going to help prevent transmission of those diseases and infections. Mm-hmm. So good mind and body health for both, right? And then communication, like we were talking about, and openness, talking about all this stuff. Personally, I think it's a lot better than teaching abstinence. The abstinence is another birth control method.
Yes, I mean, you do you.
Yep, not having sex at all. That's
totally fine.
Absolutely.
But if you feel like you want to venture into the world of sex, don't be ashamed either.
Right. So I feel a lot of people are very uncomfortable talking about that topic. And the more you talk about it, especially parents with their kids who are getting to that age, and creating this open culture that males and females are able and capable, and it's a healthy thing to have sex in a healthy way, that it's not something you should be ashamed of or feel guilty about doing.
No, definitely not. I think that's a wonderful thing to say, because a lot of people have come up to me in the past and told me about their kids, because I now have adult friends who have kids and their kids are getting to that age, and they feel guilty or ashamed or pressured, or just don't do anything that you're not ready for, but also don't feel ashamed of something that you've done if you wanted to do it. But like I said, talk to your parents, talk to people you'll feel comfortable talking with,
someone you trust. Yep. Yeah. And I like to always say that, use the internet responsibly, right? Yeah. So there's good information out there.
Be careful what you type in the search bar for the images that might come up.
Well, that too, but also, you don't want bad information. So use your resources responsibly and in an educated manner, that what you're looking up isn't, going to
scar you for life,
bring you down a rabbit hole of, things that aren't accurate.
Yeah.
So truthful information, look for truthful information. And there's a lot of
WebMD, one of those good places to go, would you say?
Yeah, WebMD has a lot of good information. I look for anything that has sort of trusted resource, like .govs are good. National Institute of Health is great. So use those resources. There's plenty of them out there. During sex it can hurt when a guy is in like the wrong spot in the vagina. How is that possible?
Okay.
So that's possible because the vaginal canal isn't, this perfect tunnel. You have sort of bumps and grooves in there, as well as the fact that it's at an angle. So sometimes the penis can come at the vagina in an off,
aggressive way.
Just an off angle. So it's not angled at the same angle as the vaginal canal. This can very frequently happen when you're doing different sex positions.
I do like to change it up.
Right. All good stuff. But being aware that, that lock and key
oh, Lord,
isn't quite, lined up sometimes, things can hit the wrong way.
Got it.
Potentially.
So don't think you can pull those moves from 50 Shades of Grey out and just think that it's just going to slide right in there. Because there's a lot of planning that goes into that.
Yes. Yeah. And I think, actually, if I think back on my earlier years, in new relationships where sex is just starting in a relationship, things can get a little awkward, maybe uncomfortable.
Oh, so awkward.
Right? So you want things to be perfect.
Oh,
and
it's never perfect.
No, and I mean, you're human bodies, right? So things are going to make noises.
Weird sound.
Yep. And the best thing to do with...
Just laugh.
Yeah, be comfortable.
But nothing kills the mood more than laughing. Let me tell you.
Comfort with your partner, right? So whether it's
hopefully
male,
it doesn't
female,
happen on your one night stand-ish type thing, or if it does, you just walk out with your head held high and say, "See you later." That's
right. Human bodies are human bodies, so don't be ashamed. Things happen.
I'm like never ashamed of anything. It's like my big flaw.
That's okay. Love the confidence.
Yep.
But yeah, so there's obviously different partnerings as well, right? So
male, female, male, male, female, female.
Yep. Which all have their own positions and things they like. So as long as you're open with your partner, you can figure those things out together.
What about now? Don't think that my brain connected these two because we're talking about sex, but we've grown up with animals around us and stuff too. Are there any weird animal sex reproductive system stuff that you know?
Absolutely. I'm so glad you brought that up because human sex is one thing, but as you know, human reproduction is very different than other, even mammalian reproduction.
I'm sorry, mammalian.
Mammals, so other warm-blooded animals.
That sounded like a really fun word for alien.
Mammalian.
I love that you sang it.
So there's actually a type of bird, I believe it's a type of duck, that has now, from what I understand, bird sex can be quite aggressive.
Bird sex?
Yeah. There's a lot of competition.
Google videos of mating birds. It's hilarious.
Like the dances?
Oh my god.
Okay, so that's
watch
not
it all day.
That's not mating birds, but that's like the mating ritual. So it's the courtship. Bird courtship.
I wish that men did that to us. They don't do anything besides send you a text. Hey.
Swipe right.
Cool. Yeah. No. Come on. I want you to do a dance.
Okay.
Shake those tail feathers.
Excellent. So there's this type of duck that the female duck wow, I'm getting
too excited.
Duck and ducked.
Oh, that is a close
confused word in my head. So the female duck reproductive duct has actually 3 paths. It's 3 branches, and 2 of those branches are like decoy branches. So
like a decoy duck.
Like a decoy duck. One of them is the right vaginal tract. Now the vaginal tract is coiled. The male duck also has a coiled penis.
Oh my.
Right? I mean, it's like...
I'm picturing this, maybe so aggressively picturing this, but like a screwdriver, coil...
Corkscrew?
Something, yeah. That kind of...
Shoots right out there.
Okay, so it doesn't twist.
No, like move?
Yeah.
No, it like shoots.
Oh.
Yeah. It's aggressive.
Did you watch this video?
No, I actually heard about it.
Oh.
Yeah. So what happens is if the female duck is not accepting the male duck's advances, the male duck doesn't really care. It just goes for it. And
wow.
Yeah. And to protect herself, she actually shuts down the right vaginal path and shoots him off into a decoy channel.
This is amazing.
How awesome is that?
That's amazing.
Yep. So
still, I don't think it's very polite of that male duck, but
it's not.
Good for the duck to have a protective system.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty interesting.
I don't want babies this week.
None for me, thank you. Yeah, just shuts him down, shoots him off into a decoy tract. What? Amazing.
Crazy.
Another funny thing about a lot of the other animals besides humans, so any animal that really has like a litter, so puppies, even birds who lay multiple eggs, all of those eggs can have different parents, so different dads.
Get out.
So a female dog who has a litter of puppies, at the same time, they can have 2 different dads from that litter, 1 litter of puppies, which I thought was incredible, and I never thought of that being
that even happen?
possible, right? So you just like in a just like we were talking about fraternal twins,
yeah.
If there are multiple eggs and there's multiple sets of sperm,
dogs are
you have
dogs.
the competition of multiple male sperm sets trying to fertilize those eggs, so you have that opportunity there.
Oh, those are gonna be cute puppies.
I mean, just in general, or are you thinking of anyone's in particular?
I just want all the mixes of puppies into one. It would be so cute.
All right. Adorable. But yeah, so that's sort of our I guess, covering our animal set of
Fun
reproduction. Fact. Yeah.
Trivia night questions.
So interesting.
Is there anything else?
I think it's time for Sarah's quiz.
The quiz for Sarah.
Sounds like a quest. The quest for Sarah.
Well, I mean, love it.
You ready?
Wait. I'm ready. So ready.
What do the vas deferens do?
They hold the sperm comes out of them. They're a tube. They go into the balls.
Right. So the vas deferens are a tube that lead from the epididymis, where the mature sperm.
That word I forgot.
That's all right. You don't need to know it. Mature sperm, vas deferens, is the channel in which the sperm travels through, and then meets up with the other fluids to create all of them together. All together is called
semen.
Awesome. What is the only birth control method that prevents pregnancy and STIs?
No sex.
And
condoms.
Yes. So I shouldn't say the only birth control method. That's right. There are 2.
Yes.
So abstinence, 100% effective.
100% effective 100% of the time.
But condoms about 97% effective at preventing pregnancy, and have been shown to prevent STIs as well.
Perfect.
Awesome. How can you get an STI treated, and what are STIs?
Sexually transmitted infections, and you can go to your doctor.
Awesome. And how do you learn about sex?
Ask everybody. Anybody you want to. People on the street, doesn't matter. Hey, tell me what you know about sex. Go from there.
Doctors, parents, educators.
It's probably better.
Counselors.
Yeah.
Anybody you trust.
Friends who have done it. If you're that person like me who didn't do it for a very long time, ask all your friends.
But also, take what your friends say into consideration.
Yes.
That there might be some rumors in there, so don't hesitate to use the responsible internet. And do your own research. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
If you have any questions or comments or just want to say anything, please follow us on Instagram at Teach Sara Science, or Facebook at Teach Sara Science, or Twitter at Sara Science, I believe. And also you can email us at teachsarascience. Just kidding.
At gmail.com.
That one. teachsarascience@gmail.com. I did too many of them. We have access to all of them all the time, and we can answer any other questions. If we didn't cover something, we can go back and cover it later or email you back. Thanks. Bye.